What? 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 Alright, let's try to make sense of this. If you clicked on this video, I'm going to assume that you know the basics of Death Stranding 2's story, but if for whatever reason you don't, here's a quick catch-up before diving into the myriad of mad stuff that goes down in this ending. Want to stay safe online and save big? Well, you can. Right now, you can get up to 76% off a 2-year NordVPN plan, plus 4 months free and up to a $50 Amazon gift card. And all you've got to do is click the link in the description below or on this QR code that should be right down here in this video to get signed up with this great deal right now. First, after connecting America to the chiral network in the original game, main character Sam Porter-Bridges is spurred to do the same across Australia following the seeming death of his adopted daughter and former bridge baby Lou. This time, he's tasked with working for Drawbridge, a new company with no political or national affiliation. Drawbridge is funded by the mysterious mannequin Charlie, and is also working with a new company called APAC that has automated deliveries within connected areas through a system called APAS. I know it wouldn't be a Kojima game, would it, without a lot of confusing acronyms that all sound the same. This new company is led by the President, who provides the chiral infrastructure and advice on the best way to link up the new continent. Along the way, they rescue a super-powered, mysterious amnesiac woman called Tomorrow from a war-torn beach, tangle with Higgs, the revived villain from the original Death Stranding, and encounter a long-dead Solid Snake lookalike named Nirvana in the realm of the dead. Caught up? Okay, so Death Stranding 2's ending, for my money anyway, technically begins a few hours before you actually see credits, once you finally connect the final node of Australia. And following this, you're served up the first of the sequel's many crazy twists to come, that the president of APAC has actually been using you the entire time to transform and control the future of the human race. Before I get into it proper though, if we're going to do some mad Kojima explaining and theorizing, well, I need to get on my lab coat because we're doing some proper Kojima science here, and this is definitely not a gimmick because I'm filming on a green screen today and accidentally wore a green shirt, so I'm instead wearing a football shirt that well, I don't feel all at home in. So first, it turns out that the president isn't actually a person at all. He's actually the shared consciousness of 4,000 dead people that have been connected on the same beach after they all perished in a void out. This consciousness has been integrated into the ACES system on a single beach, a literal ghost in the machine, and its next goal is to facilitate the next phase of human existence, essentially connecting everyone and everything to their chiral network hive mind, and then eliminate the chance of the species going extinct. And while that sounds incredibly peachy, the reality of achieving this isn't quite as utopian as it seems. And that's because the president explains that the Death Stranding in general arises through the migration of species across the world, allowing them to evolve. When that era of evolution is complete, the previous species then go through the Death Stranding extinction event and leave the world to the next generation to themselves then evolve. Keep it up. So, to completely avoid the chance of extinction, the president will use the chiral network to bridge the world of the dead with the world of the living, eliminate the need for human interaction and movement, and then force everyone to hunker down in their bunkers away from each other and rely on automated systems as part of the chiralverse. This then will stop the human race from evolving, and eventually, all of these people will become part of the APAS hive mind on the beach, joining the 4,000 others, living eternally in this realm while being separated from their bodies in the real world. It's also suggested that their essence could still occupy the ghost mech artificial bodies in the real world as well, but either way, the goal is to remove the flesh and blood and actual physicality of being human. In the parlance of the game, it's the removal of the heart, the human form, with the car, the soul, instead being attached to these robotic bodies. Because connecting an entire planet to the chiral network is pretty difficult though, the president needed to motivate Sam into joining his cause, giving him the motivation by bankrolling Higgs and his army of ghost mechs. And just when you think you're getting your head around all of this, the president's big, serious exposition dump is actually interrupted by that mannequin I mentioned earlier, Charlie, who rises from the tar, and the next thing you know, the puppet has transformed into Hardman from Death Stranding 1 and is performing this little dance routine while singing BB's theme. All the while, the servers behind him flash with colour and display his own name. Where is this singing and dancing number come from? Well, that last bit I actually can't explain, but let me try to address the first question. Well, it turns out that the true intentions of the President, AIPAC, and AIRPAS weren't quite as secret as first thought. Along the way, Hardman and Lockney from the first game, played by Margaret Qualley, discovered their intentions with the chiral network and implemented a kind of kill switch within AIRPAS to remove the sentience from the Ghost AI system and thwart their plan to bridge the world of the dead with the world of the living to seclude the human race and transform them into online ghosts that can exist primarily on the beach. Rather than further integrate the world of the dead, then the system was remixed so that connecting continents to the chiral network would actually destroy the connection between the world of the dead and that of the living. Hardman still needed the technology of AIRPAS, just without that pesky combined consciousness of 4,000 ghosts that were controlling it. His goal then is the same as it ever was, to make the world whole again via the chiral network, help people forge those human connections, and continue living life with the same human philosophies that make it all worthwhile to begin with. He also reveals that he's been on the ship the entire time, pulling the strings and hiding in plain sight as Charlie, the robotic mannequin and mysterious benefactor. Now, despite Charlie having the literal personality and voice implant of Hardman, nobody managed to put together that they might actually be connected. But there is a genuine reason for this. That's because, hilariously, this includes some players, and a choice they made right at the beginning of the game when they got the chance to choose, and I use that lightly, choose which personality was actually implemented onto Charlie's inanimate husk. In that moment, the player seemingly gets to pick between Lockney, Hardman, Deadman, or Hardman. If you choose Hardman straight away, then you probably genuinely didn't think twice that the mannequin was using his voice and mannerisms as being more than just cosmetic. I mean, there's no reason to look further into it. It could have easily looked like and spoken like Margaret Qualley. If you didn't choose Hardman here though, like I didn't, you'll realize that you don't have a choice in this moment at all. There is a convenient excuse as to why you can't actually choose the personalities of these other characters, meaning you always have to choose Hardman no matter what. If you've experienced this rejection 3 times over, then you're probably going to be thinking more about the story implications and why you were given a choice that's not really a choice. Why give players the option if it's not going to be an option? We might not have the full picture yet, of course, but we know that Hardman is going to be involved in some way, and we're being railroaded down this route for some bigger reason. And it turns out that you have to give Charlie Hardman's voice because, well, Charlie is Hardman. And to put the cherry on top of the cake that Hardman's puppeteering was in front of your eyes the whole time, he even smugly reveals that the name of the home base and ship that you're in, the DHV Magellan, while being short for Deep Tar Hunting Vessel, also stands for the Hardman Vessel. He actually says this while looking directly at the camera as well and addressing us head on. It is so daft that I absolutely loved it. Coming after a song and dance routine where you've just undermined the main villain's big twist, and then you look at the camera and go, bet you didn't realize this was the Hardman vehicle this whole time. Cinema. But wait, there's more. There's actually a third I've had a secret master plan this whole time card to play, as Higgs then turns up to reveal that actually everything has played into his hand. He, of course, had his own agenda when joining up with the president, and again, as he has told you repeatedly throughout the game, it's the same as it ever was. Like in the first title, he wants to again bring about the last stranding and conclude the extinction of humans for good. And to quickly remind you how that turned out back then, Higgs, of course, was thwarted, and Amelie, the extinction entity needed to bring about the last stranding, severed her unique connection to the beaches of every human, thus removing the threat of the last stranding ever happening. So this time around, Higgs needed to find another extinction entity connected to everyone's beaches, who just so turns out to be Tomorrow, to try again. So he then kidnaps Tomorrow, but not before finally explaining that Tomorrow is actually Lou, Sam's adopted daughter, which we will get to in a bit. With a new extinction entity, he then heads to Air Pass's beach, where you got the big spiel from the president earlier, to usher in what he thinks will be the last stranding. Sam and the team, of course, follow, and here's where Kojima goes full Kojima. I know, you think we might already be there, we're not even close. After 2 full stages of a boss battle with Higgs, who earlier teased Sam by saying there wouldn't be a boss battle this time around, by the way, the big liar, you get to the final proper this time confrontation. Higgs transports Sam and removes his shirt, because, of course, to the top of the body of a large BT to have both a regular fight and a guitar solo competition. Before you get to shredding though, at this point the old heads in the crowd are probably feeling a little bit nostalgic. I mean, 2 long-haired heroes standing on a giant structure, both shirtless, about to put their feud to an end mano a mano, all the while shrouded in warm orange lighting. Well, Kojima has always referenced his past work. I mean, Death Stranding 2 has already shown us a character the double of Solid Snake and made many references to Phantom Pain. But this, in particular, is a deliberate echo of Metal Gear Solid 1's final fight between Solid and Liquid. And if there was any doubt, just before things kicks off, Higgs even hits Sam with a "kept you waiting, huh?", a line that at this point is just synonymous with Metal Gear. Now, after the 2 duke it out, stupid, sexy, shirtless, slapping each other silly and shredding on the electric guitar while the world ends in the background, it looks like Higgs has achieved his plan, sacrificing Tomorrow through a portal in space and time and sending her to Amelie's beach to bring about the last stranding. Then, though, a giant baby comes through the portal, and we get another rendition of BB's theme sung diegetically in the game itself, this time from Higgs, who starts bursting out into a musical number, and then the baby picks up Higgs, and the baby eats Higgs, and then spits Higgs out, and Higgs is dead. Higgs is done. What's going on? What? Well, this seems to be the most interpretational moment of the game so far. Either this baby is Tomorrow's car, her spirit form, or Tomorrow finally remembering her past as Lou and manifesting in that form to defeat Higgs. But whatever the reason, the main villain of both games is gobbled up by this big baby and then spat out, having been properly ended. Alright then, let's finally get to Lou. So it turns out that Lou wasn't killed at all at the beginning of the game, something I think a lot of us guessed. Instead, she interdimensionally teleported her and Fragile to a beach to escape the attack by Higgs, who at that point was actually looking to kidnap, not kill Lou, having realized that she was an extinction entity and therefore perfect for his plan. Sadly, this jump was too late though. While Lou survived, Fragile actually died here on this beach. And before she succumbed to her wounds, she entrusted baby Lou with the lost souls in this realm, thinking she'd be safer with them rather than returning to where Higgs could potentially finish the job. Unfortunately for Sam and us though, when Fragile's physical self was brought back to base, she'd actually kind of forgotten that she'd done this and then assumed that Lou was just killed. Moreover, because Fragile was killed on the beach, it also means that her death in the real world was inevitable, and knowing that she was a goner, she decided to spend her final days helping Sam and the team connect Australia. And that's why she started smoking as well. Again, she knows that her physical body doesn't have long left, so there's no point worrying about any long-term damage that cigarettes might cause her at this point. And interestingly, that's also why Fragile loses it when confronting Higgs earlier on in the game. Here, he actually prods her in the chest, the exact place that he shot her earlier, and set her delayed death into motion, taunting her with what he's robbed from her. Though there's only a few months at most between Sam losing Lou in the real world and then finding Lou/Tomorrow and saving her in the war-torn beach. The aging is explained because time works differently on the beach. What's a few weeks in reality can be months, years, or even decades in this other realm. So in the time that it's taken Sam to connect Australia, Lou has lived years growing up into a proper adult that looks like Elle Fanning. With her memories now back though, she remembers who Sam is to her, their previous journey when she was just a BB, and the two can reunite properly as father and daughter. But there's still one more thing. Through an extremely convoluted mystery, it's also revealed that Lou, who was just a BB that Sam inherited in the first game, is actually his real biological daughter. While pregnant with his child, Sam's partner Lucy was killed and her baby taken to be experimented on and become the first BB. Sam had no idea, as the entire city was destroyed in a void out that killed everyone but him. He doubly had no idea because Lucy purposefully lied to Sam about the baby's parentage, instead telling people that the child had been conceived after an affair with Neil Varner, a lie intended to keep her baby from the eyes of those who'd want to experiment on it if they knew it was the child of a repatriate. Sadly, this ruse did not work and the baby was taken just before the city and everyone who knew the truth was obliterated. Neil, for his part, agreed to this ruse, and even in death was spiritually compelled to protect Lou, taking her into his care to protect her from the horrors of the beach when she was left there by Fragile. That's why he's so hell-bent on stopping you and getting Tomorrow back. Until he realizes you're Sam and there's no reason to keep fighting because Lou is with her real father, he views you as a threat. He's doing his duty that he promised Lucy all those years ago. So, what was Lou doing then in the 11 years between the Void Out and being reunited with Sam in Death Stranding? Well, this one's a little bit vague, but it seems like, thanks to Amelie, Lou's true nature was ultimately hidden from the rest of Bridges. She had its records falsified, was given the moniker BB-28, and was locked in stasis for most of those 11 years, only to be reunited unknowingly with its biological father. Now grown up, the game ends with another jump to the future where Lou, wearing a combination of her dad's porter gear and Fragile's, takes up the job of a porter and vows to keep exploring and connect more parts of the world. The setup for Death Stranding 3? It certainly seems like it. Alright, I'm taking this coat off. It's much too warm. It's much too warm. And that's it anyway, you know, that's as much as I can pass from this ending. There are a few other details that I couldn't fit into this linear catch-up, like, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed at the end that Tarman's weird BT cat is actually his son occupying this form, that Amelie did help Tomorrow regain her memories, that Lockney definitely had a major role in helping die Hardman, despite not having any speaking lines in this sequel, and also that the Void Out that formed Asus included the Elder and many other people that Sam met in the first game. I think. There's also maybe another thing to add to Die Hardman hiding in plain sight, because the DHV Magellan always seems to say that there are more people on board than there actually physically are, so that might be pointing to him, maybe it's someone else, maybe it's just supposed, I don't know. I don't know. You guys can maybe help me out with those details down in the comments below, because this thing is an absolute mammoth game with so much to unpack and so many different interpretations that I would love to hear. And while you're down there, you can also watch one of these videos that will be on the screen, hopefully, at some point, that will maybe make much more sense than what I've just spewed out to you. But until then, I'm gonna have a change of shirt and get back into my normal clothes, and I'll see you soon.